And I feel like people are like this and they always wait for their wake up call. I had mine, like I told you, with my best friend that had a stroke in January. That was my wake up call. And sometimes I wonder if that didn't happen, would I ever be able like just decide? Because I wanted to do this for so long, but I was so afraid. And people are so afraid as well. I know it's risky, and I just want to say for you guys listening to this, if you have something that you want to do, I'm not saying about leaving everything behind and go traveling, no matter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wiser Together. This is your host, Parmeet Kumar, with your co host, Anas Pasha. As you can see, we're all together now, so this is a very special episode. First time we're coming together and recording in person.
Yes, sir. So, guys, as you remember, about 5 months ago, we had Francisca Rodriguez with us. She's in flesh in Dubai. And not only her, this is the first time all like I'm with Parmeet as well. So, this is truly like a special occasion. But coming to our guest, as you remember, 5 months ago, when Parmeet and I started our journey, Kika was one of our first guests. And at that time, she made a bold decision to go on this 5 month long journey, almost spanning three continents, about 10 countries. I'm sure Kika will tell us a lot about it. And you can say that this is like a coming home, like a full circle sort of an episode where we just dive deep into her journey, take the gems from her, because as you can imagine that she's been on this entire journey, so many countries, meeting so many people, having so many experiences. So we're just really excited. Um, I just want to start off with one question.
Uh,
How are you?
I'm great. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I feel very blessed to be again here, especially with you, both of you together. I feel like I'm the blessed one that had the opportunity to do this with both of you. I am very good, I would say. I'm in the mixed feelings because I'm going back very soon, but I can say I'm very good. You, as I agree.
Very great. Thank you so much for asking. All right. So, like during this, we've had like a couple of pre-meets as well. And I think one thing both Parmeet and I were really awestruck by one thing that she said was that during this entire thing, she realized that we should just start and we should just start following, like take the first step and start following our goals. And during that one thing, she said that in order to get money, and by money what we mean is like the idea to survive, an idea to fulfill our basic needs, and so on and so forth, we need to let money go. So
Yeah.
my question to you was that during which part of the trip did you had that realization? And basically why she said that was that once you start doing that is when money comes in, and then we can have the basic money to survive and follow our dreams basically.
Yeah. So before I came on this trip, I think I had this meeting after I was with you in the first episode that I was in. I had a meeting with my friend Madalena. She's kind of a coach, and she talked to me before I went on the trip about my fears and so on. And something that she told me was like, because I had a lot of fears. I think I also talked about this in the last one, and I told her my fears, and she was telling me the universe, God, whatever. If you're doing what you love, if you're doing what you want, those fears are not going to happen. You're not going to be broke all of a sudden. You're not going to be kidnapped or wherever because everything was going on my mind. And after she said this, I started to understand that it was true. If you just follow your dreams, the universe will reward you and not put any obstacle in it. So that was the mentality that I went on the trip. I decided I'm not going to be afraid. I'm following my dreams. There's no reason to be afraid. And one of my fears was the money part as well. What if I get broke? What if I get robbed and I lose my money and I can survive or whatever? And I also talked about this in the last episode. I was very money obsessed when I was younger, and to get my money back, I always got it, but I had to work very very hard. And on this trip, I just felt like whatever you want to do. Obviously, I'm not gonna do crazy things, spending 1,000 euros in one day doing a crazy activity. But a lot of things that before I would say, okay, I'm not doing this because it's expensive. You're here once, do it, and it will come back. So I think I realized this shortly after the trip started, because I started also my affiliations program to grow on my Instagram, and I was living so happily, and all of a sudden my affiliate partnerships also were bringing me some income, and that's when I realized, okay, this is a sign that I shouldn't be afraid. I should just do whatever I want. Don't think twice. I mean, sometimes think twice, but mostly just let it go. And I know you guys feel the same, so
That's amazing that you were able to overcome those fears. What is before you started this trip, because it was very long, 5 months you were on the road going to how many countries did you go to?
I think around 7 or 8.
Seven
Yeah.
countries across three continents, and it seemed like more, but let's say 7 to 8, right?
I
It
think
seemed
I think
like
I think it
more.
was 7.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, it did definitely. Yeah.
yeah. So coming back to that, when you started this journey and then you went on the road for 5 months and some days, how were you before and how are you now? What are the changes that you have observed in yourself, be it dealing with certain fear or uh, coming overcoming certain insecurities,
Yeah.
overcoming your mind? What is the change that you have seen in these 5 months in yourself?
I think one of the biggest change, I would say, it's the part of being alone. I was a bit afraid of going for so long alone. Um, and here, I'm not saying about meeting people because this I knew was already going to happen. But there are cases like we were talking about when I was in the desert in Jordan for a week, no internet, not a lot of people with me. Actually, I was kind of alone with this Yemen employee from the camp almost every day. And for me, before to do this, I would probably be a little anxious and not enjoy it to its fullest. And now I look back to these desert days and I wish I could go back. It was so good to be by myself. And I would say that before I wouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
I'd also talk about the fact that I'm a very people pleaser. I hate feeling that if people are upset at me, or for example being invited to something and say no. I maybe I don't want to go, but I feel bad by saying no. And on this trip I also grew on that side. I'm not like 100% yet, and I'll never be, but I think that I got better in this sense of like, do what you want. Of course, don't hurt other people, but if you don't want to do something, don't do it. If you want to do it, do it. Like, you don't owe anything to anyone.
Yeah.
And before this was a struggle. I used to do everything even if I don't want to. And now I think these were the big changes while traveling, was these parts, I would say.
So, for everyone watching, I'm sure like people will have a lot of basic questions which we aren't asking, like what were the logistics,
Yeah.
operations, like how she managed everything. That's everything is on her Instagram, and we'll link that as well, so you can follow the journey. And she knows she's regularly posting stories, budget, this and that. So we're gonna skip those questions, but let's just say, like, I have one question for you, and you know, after you've, let's say, explained everything that you have to go here, take this flight, etc., etc., and let's just say that you've made it very simple for the people. Um, my question would be that why aren't more people chasing their dreams, and why aren't more people doing what you did? By that, what I mean is basically follow their dream. Now, I don't mean that they can up and get and just leave everything and just plan this journey. I mean, it
Hmm.
could be a smaller one, a longer one, or just like just get up and follow their dream. So like I said, just why aren't more people doing what you did?
I think, and then I also want to know you guys' opinion on this, but I think people are too accommodated to their daily lives. I was like this as well. Like, I had a pretty stable job. I had a lot of career progression ahead of me. Um, and people are like this. They are comfortable, and they are afraid to step to do something. A lot of people say, oh, don't romanticize this full-time traveling, in my case. And but sometimes we need to romanticize, because people, I feel like, they look at these things and they think something kind of impossible. It was impossible for me as well. I loved my job. I loved people from home. I had a perfect life, but there was something missing. I was feeling, if I don't do this, one day I will look back and I'll be sad, very sad. And I feel like people are like this. They always wait for their wake up call. I had mine, like I told you, with my best friend that had a stroke in January. That was my wake up call. And sometimes I wonder if that didn't happen, would I ever be able like just decide? Because I wanted to do this for so long, but I was so afraid, and people are so afraid as well. And I know it's risky, and I just want to say for you guys listening to this, if you have something that you want to do, I'm not saying about leaving everything behind and go traveling. No matter, just do it because, as we just said a while ago, money comes and goes, and a lot of the times the problem is the money because you're in your job, you're gonna stop having your full time salary. You want to start a business, you will invest, you don't know if it's gonna go well or not, and then you lose everything. And I think money is usually the biggest problem on these things. Of course, in my case, leaving everything behind was also a big problem. And I just wish people were not this afraid because it's so rewarding. And I look at people on my Instagram replying to my stuff saying, "Oh, you're living the dream life," or "Oh, I wish I, I would do." Like you can do it. You can. Like it's not. I worked for 6 months, like a lot, like extra during night and day. It was very exhausting, but it allowed me to have the life that I've been having during these 5 months. So like it was half an year for half an year, and this half an year was not probably. It was after Turkey, maybe. I don't know. They're like in the same level. These were the best 5 months I've ever experienced, and it was worth the 5 months of working before as well. And I just wish everyone would just don't wait for a wake up call. It might be. It's never too late, but you're just wasting time probably. So that is my recommendation. Just do it.
I just want to say, think about this. Yeah, I have never met a single person who who were chasing their dreams and weren't satisfied. Right?
Is the thing.
Have you met a single person who chased
No.
their dreams and weren't satisfied? So that goes to show you, like, it always pays off. And for
Yeah.
in your case as well, it was rewarding. And certainly, like, you have other places to go from here, but starting that journey and taking that first step and several others, because you've been on the road for 5 months, it it gives you some sort of stability in being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? And
And that's the thing because after doing this, I'm not going back to my old life. I don't people at home or whatever will listening to this. I don't think this is a surprise to anyone. I'm not going back, guys, to the to my previous life being in an office. I don't have anything against people that do this. And probably I couldn't have this stability of doing what I'm doing in this trip if I didn't have my team back home in my job supporting me and helping me with the things I have to do. But I would say this is not the life for me. And um, that's the thing. After doing this, now I know that I can just keep on doing this. I'm not gonna say it's for the rest of my life, but
yeah,
till I'm reach the point that I say, okay, enough is enough. I did. Now I'll pick a new dream.
I believe the because since you asked for our opinion as well, for me, I believe the most beautiful thing about your life right now is that you realized your dream. A lot of people, like, I mean, for us as well, like it was for me, like for example, last year when I was just making my YouTube videos in Urdu, I was talking to Parmeet. I was like, I just have a passion for education,
yeah.
for learning, so I just started that. But when Parmeet like, shared the idea of Wiser Together, I believe that for me was when I also realized my dream as well. So, I mean, I feel like the first step is also, I mean, like you have to realize what you like.
Mhm.
And the most beautiful thing about what you is that like you like travel, like in your own words, like you're a travel addict. And of course, with that, like you were saying that you want to show the world as a beautiful place. And I mean, the way that I mean, guys, just go out and check her Instagram. Yeah, I mean the drone shots and everything and the places. Not only like the major spots, but the cultural aspect of it is just truly phenomenal. How you connect with people, you have a very like natural way of befriending them and showing them in a most beautiful way. So I believe like for everyone, I mean, for her it's traveling, for us it's um well-being and progression, and along that line for you it might be like, like being an artist, being a cook. Just realize, sit back, realize your dream. And like she said, that sometimes we are waiting for our wake up call, but then, like, this life is fleeting. It's like me and Parmeet were, this is, I don't know which episode, 32, 33,
33.
34, but just imagine, like, we started from first episode and now we're here together in the flesh. So time flies. So just like take whatever your wake up call is, just first realize, write it down, find your passion, and just start, like Parmeet always says, so yeah.
And I just want to add about this passion thing, because ever since I was a kid, I would be like, oh, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I like? Okay, I always like traveling, but it's like, okay, I like traveling. What am I going to be, a tourist? No. So I always had this traveling passion, but I didn't think that was a passion that could be pursued or anything. And this is to say that anything, because deep down, everyone knows what they like. Even if it's just, I don't know,
Yeah, I agree.
making like pottery, whatever. I'm not saying making pottery as a
Of course not.
stupid thing, but like a
It's
random
yeah.
one. You think like, oh, what am I gonna do with liking like to do pottery? Just do it. Start a pottery class. Start selling our pottery. I don't know. I started traveling again, like full time now, and I don't know if Instagram is gonna be my way, but I'll find ways to keep traveling and sustain myself and to make this passion of mine my way of living. So you do too, please.
Yeah. Certainly, people, like you just mentioned, people think of the end goal. If I do this, what will I get out of it? Let's say, let's take pottery for an example, right? They wouldn't start because they're like, what would I get out of this? But eventually, in 5 years' time, 2 years' time, whatever, are you, if you're able to build a business from it, and also follow your passion, but also, add a way to sustain yourself from it. Uh, if you had that idea, you would certainly do it. But what people don't see is the gap between the starting point and the end point,
Hmm.
and that dark place, because people don't know what it looks like,
Hmm.
kind of paralyzes them. Like we say, don't look at the mountain in front of you, because if you see, like, you want to climb Mount Everest, you're gonna faint, right? It's
Yeah, thank
impossible,
you. No.
right? But people, step by step, moving forward, you eventually get there. Like 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, you'll think, man, I've come a long way, right? I didn't know how we got here. Like, same for me and Anas. We really don't know how we edited, how we did the recordings, the production, like the topics we're discussing, the guests we're having, scheduling. There's so many aspects to it. But once you put yourself in that position, we're, as humans, are very smart. We figure it out. We figure it out. Today as well, we're recording in person for the first time, and like it took us an hour to get everything right, and we had some troubles, uh, you know, uh, putting it together. But you figure it out. You just need to put yourself there, and eventually you'll feel this. I feel like true satisfaction comes from growth, and growth comes from being uncomfortable, right?
That's true.
That's where you find new ways of learning and being. So I think that's what kind of puts people on the back foot always, just not knowing what that path looks like. But honestly, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's what
Because
I was
if
gonna
you
say.
knew, yeah, if you knew, that's like, it's bloopers, right? it's
Yeah,
it's bloopers for your own movie. You don't
that is
want
true.
them, right? You want to experience them as you go along in the present moment. Be surprised, right? All every Like the biggest moments of happiness or joy are the things that you didn't expect, right? If you expect them, you've already lived them in your head, and they obviously they're
Hmm.
repeating, so it's not something new.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, the biggest hurdle for people chasing their dreams is, it's mentally, the picture they paint mentally. Physical environment, you'll get through. Once you get there, you'll get through it. But mentally, when you think about it, what am I going to do, how is this going to be, there's thousands of questions you have to answer, and you can't find the answers to them. And that, then you're like, okay, let it be. Like,
Hmm.
you don't pursue them. So honestly, just listen to yourself and take the first step, take the second step, go step by step. That's the best approach. And when you don't feel like it, you can always come back to and figure out a way.
And I think it's also important from what you're just saying. If it doesn't go, for example, okay, I had this plan of by December, so we're in December now. My plan was to have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I'm still a bit far, but that didn't it doesn't make me want to give up. I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit off. It's fine. I'm just gonna continue doing it. This to say that sometimes you plan things, you will think they would be easier. Probably they were not, but just don't give up on your first try or in the second. Just don't give up. I'm not planning on giving up. If I'm stuck on the 7,000 followers I have now, I'll not complain. I'm happy. I know that what I'm doing is helping people. I'm inspiring people, and that's my main goal. If it's 10,000 people, if it's seven, if it was even 1,000, the goal here was to pursue my dreams. Of course, I had more goals associated, but I'll not give up because of them.
Well, I believe if you're stuck at 7,000, Parmeet and I, after 33
Yes.
episodes, we're at 252 subscribe. Yes.
Counting every
Yes, both on Instagram and YouTube. And Parmeet always say this to me. Like Parmeet is saying that, look, what are we doing this for? What is our purpose? And we've always said that this is a selfish purpose first. And through this, if people get value, we always say this everywhere, like when Parmeet opens and closes and in our posts and everything, that if you get value out of this, like and subscribe, be it everyone. And I just want to
One
say,
person.
last night, Kika and I were out for dinner, and we met one person, and she was a follower of Kika, and we were there. We had dinner together, and like she was so
Nice.
inspired by her, and we had a really great conversation. And this is one person of many who have been inspired by Kika, and like that goes to show, like a person
Yeah.
took time out to do that. So definitely, um, I want to come to one interesting point that you and I were having in the car, a discussion, and that was regarding getting used to things, because at this point in time, Kika has been to a lot of like most exotic places in the world, which are just beautiful and awe-inspiring. And she said that I keep going to these places, I keep seeing these things, I keep like just being inspired. What if one day, like, I don't get inspired by the next view or the next view, and what if the next view is just like okay for me? So what do I do over there? And I know that we've had this conversation, but and you heard like an answer from me,
Hmm.
and of course I don't want you to get influenced by that answer, but I just want to know your answer to that question that you asked yourself.
Yeah, this is kind of a hard topic because this is something I'm very afraid of. I remember last time we were here.
fears again.
Yeah,
Mental construct.
um, 2 years ago, I was here in Dubai, and me and Pasha we had these activities planned, and one of them was skydiving, and then the other one, like I'm saying, like adventurous ones, was the longest zip line in the world, which is here in another
In
Emirate,
Dubai. Yes.
not in Dubai.
But
It's
that's okay.
Oh,
Ras
that's
Al
okay.
Khaimah.
That's
So we went to the skydiving, was amazing, a lot of adrenaline. I loved it. And then we went to the zip line. So we should have put the order differently because you are jumping from a plane, super high,
yeah.
like super scary, and then you go to a zip line. And I was telling him at the end of the zip line, I don't know if you remember, I was like, after doing the skydiving, this is kind of meh. I don't feel a lot of adrenaline. And that is my problem with activities, but also like views, because you go to places that you only see on social media, on Google, like on that you've been growing watching only in digital forms or photos, and then you go there, and then like, okay, for example, I went to the Maldives this year. Then I'm like, okay, what beach is gonna be better than this one? Like, am I gonna
Australia.
uh, you're convincing me to go. But you see, okay, imagine I go to Australia. What else? What after? I don't know. I do think a little bit about this. I think I'll always love traveling and always will love watching these places. But it is a not a fear, but like something that I think about that I don't want to lose this excitement to go see new places, even though they're not as great as this previous one. So I don't know. What is your take on this?
I feel like firstly I'll talk about you when you mentioned you did skydiving and zip line was a cakewalk, right? So that just goes to show you again, once you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, eventually you become comfortable.
Hmm.
So for you, if zipline was a hard thing, or you had a fear or were scared to do, once you've done that, it's you become comfortable doing
Yeah.
that, right? And then again, always having the fear of, oh, is this it? Am I gonna do be better? Am I gonna do better? I always it's this is just your mind only has power in the past or the future, and it's always going to try and paint a picture how it's going to be. I'm sure before you left for your trip as well, you had several thoughts, consciously or subconsciously, that how will this country be, how will I do this, where will I sleep, how will I interact with people, what activities will I do, oh, will this be good or not, contemplating and stuff. But the truth is, you mentioned this as well, that it never goes according to plan,
Yeah.
right? There's always, you will figure out a way here and there, and eventually, two things: either you're happy or you learn. Those are the only two things
Hmm.
happen, right? You don't fail. Something goes wrong, you learn from it and work towards achieving that goal, or you achieve that goal, right? So it's always a step forward.
This also about the first topic we talk on this episode about things that I've learned and I've changed throughout the trip. This is a good one, like doing something wrong or whatever, and don't feel like I feel, just learning from it. For example, when I went to Oman and I paid 50 euros for the visa, and then I found out there was no need to pay the 50 euros because we have visa on arrival. If it was before, I would have been thinking of these 50 euros for days. For days, like, why did I waste 50 euros? That's one day of traveling. At the moment, I was like, well, this sucks, but I know now for the next ones, I'll not be making this mistake again. And then the philosophy of the money going and coming back also put in mind. So I was, okay, I was not supposed to spend these 50 euros, but it will come back, and I learned my lesson. And this is something that I also think I've changed
Yeah.
in this
And a
trip.
positive way to look at it can be that you've made that mistake. Imagine the hundreds and thousands of people you can help avoid that mistake,
Yeah,
right? So they
which I
can,
did on my Instagram. I put
exactly,
this tip so that
right?
you guys don't do the same
Yeah,
mistake as me.
exactly. And I'm sure even if one person saved that, right,
Yeah,
it's always going to end up being net positive, right?
it is.
So that's beautiful. And also, coming back to the question you asked, every place you go to, it's amazing, and then you have this fear, oh, what's next? But you can't paint that, right? Because
Yeah.
the place that you were formerly standing at, that also you didn't pay. Before that as well, you had the same feeling, and
Yeah.
you keep, because honestly, you've traveled so much, right? 5 months. How many times have you had this feeling, and how many times have that myth, or I don't know if you call it a myth, but that feeling been
Yeah.
busted, and you're surprised, like life surprises you.
Yeah.
You know?
It has been a few times where I was, oh, this is beautiful. And then I was going, for example, in Sri Lanka, going to a random waterfall and thinking, is this waterfall going to be amazing? And
Yeah.
it ends up always being.
So I feel like when we're in these moments and we think about stuff, we're already not being present, and we're not already not appreciating what we have in front of us, but rather we're focusing on what the future holds, as we always do. The mind is an expert at doing this, right? And you can observe this on day-to-day basis, in different situations. It's always trying to grasp, and it's always trying to occupy your attention through asking you how the future is going to look like, or throwing memories from the past. But think of it this way: thoughts, presence is the absence of thoughts. Presence
Mm-hmm.
is the absence of thoughts. So if you have thoughts, you're not present already.
Mm-hmm.
If you have thoughts, your attention is in here, not what's here. And when you're fully present, there's just there's just joy. There is no thoughts. There's nothing to describe that
Yeah.
feeling, right? So this is what you can perhaps observe and think about, or
Not
not
think
think about,
about.
exactly,
Yeah,
when you're in
I
those
have this
situations.
problem. I'm an overthinker about, especially about the future. I'm always, I'm here, I'm already thinking where I'm going to be next and so on.
Yeah.
That's something where I always have something that I want to work on myself on these situations, and this is one of them. I want to be more present, think less, because I'm a huge overthinker.
Yeah.
And this is actually something that I never spoke on my Instagram. I should start being a little bit more vulnerable because I think people also identify with these
I
aspects.
agree.
And I have a lot of problems. Like people see my social media, probably they think, oh, this looks so nice, so perfect. I mean, they see I have inconveniences and obstacles in my trip, but I don't talk that much about my psychological side, about my anxiety, about my overthinking. I don't speak that much about this. And this is a topic that now I'm going to go back to Portugal. My travel content will be less. And I want to like dive into these topics because I think a lot of people will also sympathize and they are in the same situation and will probably open more doors for them to follow their dreams if they see that I followed mine having these problems as well.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say because definitely, I think the best part about us three is that we've just started this journey, and the journey never ends. But the best thing is that, I mean, as much as Parmeet and I would talk about these things and all the best practices, trust us, like we fail every day.
Every
Like,
day.
yeah, it's just horrible. But that's what we're doing. We're not claiming to be perfect or gurus or anything. Our objective is just to be the best versions of ourselves and to adopt the best practices. But like Kika said, like she has so many things going on as well, like the psychological side, and that's with us as well. And I believe like this is so perfect because we're like guinea pigs, like we're testing, we're doing these things, and we just try to tell you what works, what doesn't work, okay, what is the best thing that you can do to avoid that. So that I believe that just puts us in a very unique position to help our family, friends, and for whoever is watching.
Yeah. And that's the main goal, to help, to inspire,
Yeah.
to try to show that you're not alone. We also have our problems. So sometimes you don't have to learn with your own mistakes, you can learn from ours.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And I think that's very important in today's day and age where we see people sharing their perfect profiles, perfect photos, having the perfect lives. And at the end of the day, I know one thing, everybody's human and there's nothing perfect. It's all ups and downs, but people only choose to share those ups. But that just makes people think, oh, this person is so perfect, has everything in order. That's why they're able to do these things. I have so many problems, this. So I can't do this. It's not like that. They're just showing a certain part of it. That's why we try to shine our vulnerabilities because that's what makes us who we are. And I feel like a lot of confidence comes from sharing the vulnerabilities, not holding them back.
mhm.
Right? That is going to be your biggest insecurity at the end of the day. And how you overcome them and how you, overcome these fears and insecurities is just think about it. How your mind is what communicates to you, your thoughts are what communicates to you and tells you how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what your fears are, what your insecurities are. And like we mentioned, the mind always lives in the past and the future, not in the present. So
Mhm.
if you're able to ground yourself in the present, and there's certainly several ways you can do that, uh, those fears and insecurities won't exist in those moments. But obviously we can't be present the whole time. That's
Mhm.
basically buddha
Impossible.
buddha level, which is unattainable, but I feel like you can keep working towards it, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. Right? You never want to finish, you want to keep getting closer and closer and closer. And certainly life is best in pursuit. Once you have achieved a goal, what is it after that? Then it dies down, right? But in pursuit, when you're moving towards it, that's when the adrenaline is the more highest, and you feel the best.
Yeah. And that's
So
something that I
yeah.
Um,
definitely want to work on.
I had one last question, and it comes in two parts. So, was it worth it? And what one thing, or like if you can just put it into a one sentence, like what makes this entire thing worth it that you want to keep doing this again and again your entire life, as you said.
Okay.
And for other people as well, so they can get some,
Yeah. I think I think you can see from the way I speak and from my who follows me on Instagram, it was definitely worth
and a
it.
smile.
And my
Yeah.
smile. It is such a sad moment because I'm here with you guys and I know the end is coming.
Again, thinking it's normal.
Because it's getting too close, and
Yeah.
when I think that 5 months have passed, I'm like, I don't miss. I miss everyone. I miss everyone, but not that much to the point that I want to go back. But at the same time, and we spoke about this, I think there's always a certain time for things. And for me, for this full-time traveling is 5 months. I've experienced this several times, and I know that in the end of 5 months I start feeling like, okay, this is not adding as much as it could. So it's time to go so I can come back again fresh minded. So in a sentence, to explain how worth this was, is because this is my purpose. I found my purpose, and that's why this was worth it. And now I don't have to feel like I don't have any passion in the world, in my life. There's nothing in the world that excites me that much. It's traveling. It always been there. I just didn't know that I could just pursue it and live this life. But now I know. And so, guys, once again, I think the moral of this entire episode, or at least what I'm trying to get through, is do it. Don't think twice.
Just do it.
And I said this. I think I even said that this in my first episode with you guys, and I didn't know the outcome. Now I know, and I say again, do it, because for me, it was the best decision of my life. I don't even know when I go back home. I don't know how I will, because I want to share this with you guys. Like on my social media, because this is how I communicate with my community, and I don't even know how I'm going to do it yet, because I really want to put into words or into pictures or whatever,
And that's okay.
because there's so much in my mind that I want to express, because there is no way to express how this experience was. I am forever in my heart. I will have these memories, and the people I've met. I have this small highlight where I put small videos of the people I've met during the trip. I stopped doing it because it was a lot of maintenance, but I know every single person, and if you're hearing to this and you were part of this trip, you were, and I say thank you, because people made this trip what this trip was.
Yeah.
Without the people, life is nothing. And this was people were definitely the most special part of this trip.
That's amazing. So certainly, going for the dreams is very rewarding. Do you want to briefly talk about the cost of not attempting to trying to achieve your dreams or chase your dreams?
um,
How would it have been for you if you didn't do it?
I think it would have been just
Isn't that more scary?
yeah, it is. Just the thought of like I said, if this didn't happen to Clara, of course, if I could change anything in my life, it would be this episode of my life. I would, obviously, there's no
Of
question,
course. Yeah.
would never in my life. But you sometimes have to look at these things and understand what they teach you.
Positively.
And it is very scary to think, okay, if I didn't have this wake up call, how my life would be just like it was before. I was fine. I was happy, I guess, but not fulfilled. And I think fulfillment is one of the most important things for you to feel. And I was happy. I was stable. I was comfortable, but I was not fulfilled. And now I can say that I am. I did say this a lot of times during my trip. I say, if I died tomorrow, I would die very happy. Like I've died like mission accomplished. If I died before this trip, I wouldn't feel this way. I would feel like I left a lot to do, a lot of things that I wanted to do that I didn't. But now I can say, please God, don't take me tomorrow. But if you do, I'm very, very thankful for my life, and a lot of it's because of these past few months and what they brought me. So
That's phenomenal. Honestly, I go through that a lot, thinking that even if I die doing this, it's I'm chasing my purpose and I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. And if this is it, then so be it, because this is what I was here to do. Uh, Not chasing your dreams, as they say. Anas had a in the last one or two episode, I think he mentioned, when you are on your deathbed, you haven't chased your dreams and they're in your head. You see all around them, and they will haunt you. And you know how they say regret is mostly comes from you not doing
yeah,
things, not as opposed to
yeah,
doing them. It's always comes from that place. So do them, even if they don't work out. You learn something, and then you'll find another way. But eventually, that's what life is. You learn from the good or the bad. It's just experience, an experience is always fruitful, good or bad. It
Yeah.
will lead you to something.
Yeah.
I think this was amazing, huh? And the
Thank you.
first one in person.
And I hope we inspired a lot of you guys. I hope this conversation, because sometimes I mention this on my social media and I'm like, is someone really taking this all in? So I really hope that with you guys, you inspire so many people with your mindfulness conversations. And I feel like people that hear this podcast, they know what you guys are trying the message you're trying to take and come
Mm.
across. So I hope they see this episode and get inspired as well. And I'm so happy to be physically with both of you. This is very special.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very special.
Thank you so much. Honestly, doing it in person, it's different feels.
So it's
And
yeah, it feels amazing actually.
yeah,
I can
uh,
imagine.
I don't know about other people. We're certainly, me and Anas, like we really look up to you. We're inspired by you, the things you do. Just ferocious, and the raw energy that you have, and how determined you are. You're very, yeah, you know what you're doing, and
Yes.
you take that step forward. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
giving us your time, and obviously like being in our lives, which is very amazing. So hopefully we'll have you again sometime
Please.
soon. And I want to thank everyone else as well. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please support us in any way you can. We truly appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next Sunday.
Ciao, guys.
Bye bye.
Ciao.